Shalom friends, welcome to Daf Reaction, Sotah 19. So far in this tractate, I have been on my best behavior. Been trying to keep it light, keep it funny. But sometimes I just have to keep it real, and today is one of those days. In the sense that I already was having a bad day, and then I learned the Daf, and that made it 10 times worse. So if you want to hear some feminist rage, then go fix yourself a dust and ink smoothie and settle in. The Sotah ritual. A jealous, insecure husband, clearly an Andrew Tate stan, warns his wife to stay away from another guy. But it turns out that she ended up being alone with that guy anyway, for a long enough time that something could have happened. At the time of the Mishkan, or the temples in Jerusalem, there was an ordeal, a trial that the woman could go through to prove her innocence, or on the other hand, it would confirm her guilt for the very serious charge of adultery. Now, a woman could say, nope, I'm not doing that. I'm not going through with it. But if she nopes out of it, it does kind of seem like she's guilty. Her husband divorces her and he gets to keep her ketubah money, meaning that potentially it's in her husband's financial best interest to frighten her with the threat of this ordeal. But let's say she's like, I have nothing to hide. Let's go through with it anyway. So they take her to the temple. They really try to get her to admit what she did. She's made to walk to distant areas of the temple and schlep her offering in a weird basket. So she gets tired out, and the priest also humiliates her publicly, very publicly. He takes her hair covering off, he unbraids her hair, he tears her clothes from her chest. Honestly, at this point, just bring out the shame nun from Game of Thrones. Where is she? Is she stuck in traffic? And then the accused woman has to drink a beverage made from the dust of the Mishkan floor or the temple floor and the dissolved name of God, the bitter waters. If she drinks it and nothing happens, yay, that means she was innocent and she can go home to live with her absolute trash husband and have his babies as a reward for going through this ordeal and proving her innocence. What a fun and worthwhile outcome. If she drinks it and she's guilty, however, she turns green, basically rots from the inside out, and then it probably expires. Allegedly, at the same time that this punishment is happening to her, the effects show up also on her side piece, the person with whom she cheated in the first place. Although he's not going through this publicly, so this sounds like PR spin to me. But what if she gets up to the point of drinking that beverage and then she just has a panic attack, or she just can't do it anymore and she wants to back out of it? She doesn't want to do this. She doesn't want to go through with it. According to a baraita in today's daf, what would happen in this case is that the men would take an iron hook, hold her mouth open with it, and pour the liquid down her throat. Of all the horrifically anti-woman things I have come across so far in my learning the Talmud, and there have been, a few, I think this might be, in terms of my own reaction to the description, the worst? Now, I know there's a lot of apologists out there, because I've already read your comments. I know what you're going to say. By the time the Talmud is discussing the Sotah ritual, it is no longer a thing that's happening. I know that. Another thing I often hear is, oh, this is actually a way for the priests to help a woman who is in the situation of being accused by her husband. There's really nothing bad in this drink at all that could harm her. So when she survives it, and she clearly will because nothing bad is in it, it'll make her husband look like the jealous, paranoid loser he so clearly is. It's really a punishment for him. Nothing happens to her. Yes, it fucking does. This woman has been publicly humiliated and shamed, something that's supposed to be directly contrary to Jewish values. If the priests consider this woman too attractive, then they don't unbraid her hair and they don't tear her clothes all the way. So while this ritual is taking place, essentially the priests are making a judgment call on if she is hot enough to merit being covered a bit, so that all the people who are watching, and everybody pretty much is invited and encouraged to come and watch, won't feel compelled to lust after her. But if she's ranked like a 7 or lower, they're like, leave her uncovered. Nobody cares. I bet the woman cared. I bet she cared that in one of the lowest moments of her life, the severity of her treatment was dictated by how attractive the men in power found her. Pretty classic scenario, right? Insult meet injury. And if the Sotah ritual really was a punishment for the husband, I think we all know what should have happened. He should have gotten a hook through his mouth, like the absolute clownfish that he was. Justice, justice, you shall pursue, right? But that didn't happen. So the next time I hear somebody say, oh, in Judaism, women are on this pedestal, they are holier than men, they are better than men, I'm gonna think about that iron hook in her mouth, and I'm just gonna fucking scream.